Hi guys, welcome on YouTube. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe down here in the comment section. Comment section is for everyone. So thank you so much for coming today. As you can see, the title is how to get a green card in the United States through marriage. There are many ways of getting the green card, but today I will focus on marriage. Why marriage? Because some people think it's easy, but actually it's not easy. But let's go through the facts, okay? Janet loves facts. The facts will come from uscis.gov. That is American law or the American website, okay? And of course, if you want more information about Canada, it's canada.ca. So how do we get this green card? Through marriage. Of course, there are many ways. But the first thing we have to make sure, of course, we have to be married, okay? We have to be married to an American citizen. And you say, Janet, how? This world has become small. You can meet on social media, you can meet on dating apps, you can meet in church, you can meet through a safari, a vacation. You never know. We meet people in all different places. But at the end of the day, you will have to follow the American law, okay? So Janet is not a lawyer, but she reads and she tells you what really happens and the reality of these things. So first of all, you have to produce a marriage certificate. And you say, Janet, that's easy. No, not necessarily. Some people might be polygamous. There is no polygamy. Make sure you're single. Make sure you're single. That is a requirement. You're single. After you're single and you've dated and you've agreed, you have to find yourself at the courthouse or in a church or in a mosque, okay? Whichever way, any legal institution that is allowed by the state or the government to give you a marriage certificate. So that is the easy part. That is the easy part, of course. Once we establish a marriage, okay, there will come a time when you will want those benefits. If you are not a US citizen and you want to work and live in America permanently, there are some things you will have to prove that your marriage is legitimate. Well, you say, but I have a marriage certificate, true? And no one can dispute a marriage certificate. But they know some people might go through other shortcuts to get these marriages. So let's see. What are we going to do to establish marriage? Marriage means that two people are probably living together. Of course, if you work different cities or different countries, of course it's understandable. It doesn't mean that someone can't work in another state or another country. But for the most part, they want to see that you live under the same roof. Common sense, okay? You live under the same roof. You're paying the bills in the same names. Your electrical, your water, okay, your cable. You're filing taxes as joint. You don't have to, but at least there has to be that. You can file married, but filing separately. But there has to be that indication that you're actually operating as a couple. Okay, so those are the basic things. First of all, to establish that marriage, make sure it's legitimate. And by the way, these days, after they give you a green card through marriage, there's a 2-year waiting period just to make sure that this marriage was actually legit. But for the most part, we want to establish that residency requirements of living together. If we have children, of course, that will be strong. If we have dogs together, okay, if we are paying the same bills and the things that I just mentioned. So those are the facts. Having said that, what next? What next? What will you have to prove that you actually married? Some of you have social media handles. You want to post things that show a family, okay? You want things to show that you are actually engaged at one time. You show things that maybe you are flying together, you are going on vacation together, and then eventually the marriage is there, the dogs are there, the children are there on all your social media handles. These are common sense things, okay? So we take things for granted. Now there will become a time when maybe they will require you to show up for the interview. And that is the catch, face to face. Of course, if you're married, you want to know all the information about your spouse. What kind of religion? What religion do they practice? What do they like to eat? I'm telling you, you can go even to the nuts and bolts of those things. Who are their in-laws? Do you know the mother-in-law? Where does she stay? Father-in-law, the brothers and sisters. How many brothers and sisters do these people have? What are their careers? Where do they live? When is the last time you visited? Like common sense to show that actually you have a relationship together. Okay? So those are the things we want. First of all, if you're thinking of a marriage visa, you need to establish a legitimate marriage, no polygamy. Okay, after you establish that, you have to show that you're doing things together as a family. Okay, so let me put that aside. We're on the same page. Now, how do you actually come here? Don't think that you have to stay home wherever you are outside America and things will just happen. They may, but if they don't, remember there are other ways. If you want to come to America as a student, you can always meet someone as a student. You can come to America as a visitor. You can meet a loved one as a visitor. You can come on any other kind of, temporary visa. And once you meet, always know there is a possibility of change of status. And me on this page, I talk about different kinds of visas, okay? I haven't talked about J1. You really have to pay attention to that one. J1, when you come, they expect you to go back, okay? Finish those 2 years before you come back. But of course, there is a waiver. So always remember that. But what is Janet saying? You have to find yourself here at some point, okay? Temporary visas can always be changed. And I like using my example, okay? My example, I came as a student. My goal was to come to class, go to school, and go back home, okay? But I passed my exams in nursing and clerks, and the lawyers and my employer welcomed me, and they said, hey, Janet, we can change your status from student F1 to green card. During that period, it's called change of status. I was not required to go to school anymore. The green card took another 2 years before it came out, but hey, the green card is not everything. Within 4 to 6 weeks, I got my work permit. How did I use the work permit? I took it to a social security office. They cleaned my social security number because my social security, when they first gave me as a student, it said not allowed to work because I can only work on campus. But after I got the work permit through change of status, from F1 student visa to permanent residence, aka green card, during that time they gave me a work permit. And that work permit, I took it, went to the social security office. They gave me a clean social security number, which is the same number, but this time it doesn't have any restrictions. So I took that social security number and the work permit with my passport straight to the motor vehicle, Department of Motor Vehicle. That is where I applied for a driver's license. And I started working in America legally as I wait for the green card to cook. Okay? So why am I giving you this example? Because I know many of you will come with different kinds of visas. And you need to understand there's something called change of status. Change of status. You can always change from wherever temporary visa you have to permanent residency. If you get through marriage, as I said again, there will be a period of 2 years where you have to prove that your marriage was legitimate. Okay? Now let me talk to some of us because Janet covers everyone. If you come here and you do everything right, you can always file these things yourself. Okay? But if you ever had any problems, let's say you overstayed your visa, you broke the law. Let's say you came as a student or any other kind of visa and you are not supposed to work and you went ahead and worked and you have taxes showing you worked. It's good to find a lawyer, an immigration attorney to speak on your behalf. Always remember that, okay? But other than that, some of you don't even have to come here. Let's say you met this fiancé through online. They can travel, come home, take pictures with you, travel with you, show some engagement rings, and then they can apply for a fiancé visa. When you come here, you can come on a fiancé visa, and then that will be turned into a green card. And I've done fiancé visas, and I'll continue videos on fiancé visa, and I'll continue doing that. Okay? I've done videos. They can come home, marry you, come here, and apply for a marriage visa for you. Okay? So that there are many ways of doing that. Okay, but just remember, if you come on a temporary visa and you meet love here, you can always change that from temporary to permanent residency. If you have broken the law, remember to use a lawyer. Okay, are we on the same page? Now, this is another assumption where I come from. People think, okay, maybe for me to marry someone with a green card, they have to look a certain way. They have to be a Muzungu. Muzungu is the one who is Muzungu means Caucasian. Okay, so some people marry Caucasians thinking, okay, those are the only people that are United States citizens. No. Anyone that came here, they could have been refugees. They came here as students. They worked hard. They got green cards through work. Okay, some of them came through asylum. They got green cards. Some came as refugees. Some came as fiancé visas, got married, and then divorced. So there are many people that look like us, sound like us, that are American citizens that can actually file for you these things. So you need to keep an eye open. Okay, at the end of the day, I don't know how your situation will happen, but I'm just educating you today. The topic is how to get a green card through marriage. And those are just the facts you really have to establish. No one can go against the state because you got a marriage visa. But you have to prove that actually your marriage is legitimate. And you joined me late, you have to go back at the beginning of this video and understand the things that you will have to do to show that you are actually married legitimately. That is what they are looking at. There is no if, but this is like common sense, but some people make those mistakes. Okay, they marry someone, they go living in another state. If they ask them a bill, they cannot even show a bill that they share. If they ask them about their families and relatives, they have no idea. Obviously, you will fail. Even if the state gave you a marriage certificate, it's not demonstrating that these two are actually married. So you have to take those things seriously. Okay, now point of advice, I have to go personal here. You know, sometimes I like stories to tell you. So now if you meet someone like me who is an American citizen, obviously you don't want to just come to me and say, hey, can you help me? I want a green card because you are a citizen. You can never do that. Your love has to be, again, legitimate. You have to genuinely love this American citizen. And if there's a product of children, you'll be okay with that. Okay? So it has to be genuine. You come and approach me as a person. You say, I love you because of ABCD, normal life. And then we start courting, we start dating. We see if things are working out. Okay? Now, if things are working out, maybe we are moving in together. And then now we are starting to pay bills together. And then after a while, I'll be like, hey, so what do? We need our families together. We need to raise this family together. We need to stay together forever after. And then maybe you'll be like, hey, maybe I wanted to go back home. And then you tell the American citizen, you say, okay, we have an option to go back home or stay in America. What do you think? Okay, at that point, you let the American citizen decide, hey, me, I love here, okay? And then now you decide to stay in America. And then you are honest. You say, hey, since you are the American citizen, I've seen you working so hard, paying bills in the house. I want to help. I want to help buying diapers, food in the house. Me as a student, I can only do so much on campus. But if we work together, we go on this government website and we apply for permanent residency, I'll be able to get a work permit and I can help this family. So that's all I want. Otherwise, you know, I would go back home. But since our love has become that big, it's better for us to work to stay together. So that is how you approach these things. You create a relationship first. You let it grow. When it grows, now it has come to a point of no return. Both people will have to decide, where do we want to set our families? Obviously, if you decide, I've seen people meet and go and live in Europe. I've seen people meet and go back and live in Asia. I've seen people meet and go back to Africa. So it doesn't have to be like you have to live here. But obviously, if both of you love to stay here, that is the point. Now you talk to your spouse and say, hey, I need to help you with bills. I need to pay, you know, for these kids. I need us to work together so we can raise a strong financial family. And that is the time you come in and ask the American citizen now to file for you papers. And now you train them, you tell them, hey, this is what you, don't assume they know. Okay, American law, immigration, any kind of law, you know, it's highly, highly misunderstood. And as I said, please, if you ever had a problem with the police, if you ever overstayed the visa, if you ever did something that messed up your immigration status, please find an immigration attorney. Just like in criminal law, if someone steals and they are found and they are in trouble, obviously they look for a criminal law attorney. And sometimes I've said examples whereby you actually saw this person is on video, you can see them, they actually stole, but they will find a criminal attorney, and the criminal attorney will go and stand in front of the judge and say, my client is innocent. And sometimes they actually find them innocent. So the lawyers are trying to get you out of these problems. How me, I don't know. All I'm advising you is seek professional help. Okay, if you want to do things on your own, you really have to understand what you're doing, and your record has to be actually very clean. Personally, I did not have any problems with taxes. I filed my taxes. I had no problems because I never worked illegally. I paid my taxes on time. I kept the contract with the employer. So when it came time to apply for citizenship, I just went to uscis.gov. I downloaded the forms, and I applied for citizenship myself. I followed all the directions, paid my check, and voila, I did the interview, and it was so simple, and I passed. I learned the English and the history that they told me to learn. I passed, okay? And they did medical tests and all those things, and English tests, wherever they did, and they gave me my citizenship. That's not to say that everyone has to do that. You have to know yourself, my friends. You have to know yourselves, okay? So today, if you're following me, remember to subscribe, share with your friends. This is Janet Rangi here, okay? We want to grow our YouTube, and I can't thank you enough. Some of you have been telling me for years, Janet, please come on YouTube. You like Facebook too much. Well, Janet is listening, because most people are saying, Janet, you'd better do something, and now I'm coming on YouTube. I'll be doing a lot of videos on YouTube, okay? So thank you so much for coming. Go in the comment section. When I find time, I'll come and share with you information in the comment section. Of course, comment section should not just be for Janet. It should be a discussion between all of us, okay? So I hope I found you here and you learn something from me. Every day I come here and do a video, I'm always hoping that some of you will learn something that you didn't know, okay? You always knew people can get married. And by the way, I forgot to tell you before I go, during that period of change of status, you can always file for a traveling document. Never leave the country unless you know what you're doing. You consult with a lawyer, or you read, or you have the right information. During change of state, of course, if you're a student, you know you can always go back and go home and come if your visa is valid. But what happens during that period when you're changing from F1 student to green card through marriage? There's something called not affidavit of support. There's a name that is given. I forgot the name of that document. It's a travel document. If you know what I'm talking about, please go in the comment section and share with some of our followers, okay? Advance parole. I am glad I remembered. It's called advance parole, okay? You apply for advance parole, and that will help you to cross the border when you go. You don't want to leave the country and then they don't let you back in, okay? Always pay attention to details, okay? I'm glad I remembered. During change of status, yes, you can travel, but you have to ask the USCIS, the immigration, to help you with the advance parole, okay? And then they'll give you those documents, and then you can use them. You cannot just wake up today and say, hey, I feel like going home. When you go there, when you come back at the port of entry, you might have some issues coming in, okay? So I hope you learned something today. Asanteni sana, merci beaucoup, shukran. Thank you so much for coming. Kwaheri. I will see in the next video. Muchas gracias, okay? Remember to subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.